Welcome back to Good Day Northern Michigan. This holiday season, 40% of families in the U.S. are going to spend time together in a blended family.
And it can be difficult to navigate sometimes. That's why we're bringing in Dr. Charletta Dennis from Priority Health. Good to see you again. She's here to offer us some tips to avoid confusion and some miscommunications that could lead to hurt feelings. So, Dr. Dennis, to start us off, what is the biggest thing that someone can do if this is maybe their first holiday season as a mixed family?
As a mixed family, if this is your first holiday season, it's important for you all to involve all family members. Make sure that both sides of the families are coming together. And you can do this by creating an open space for you all to have conversations about what traditions fall on either side of the family. So make sure that you are celebrating each family size traditions and maintaining positive communication about what should happen during the holidays, and be flexible about what traditions one side of the family may have that the other may not, but make sure that you all are coming together as one. Be cohesive in the understandings of what your priorities are on either side of the family.
Now, Dr. Dennis sent over some statistics there. 40% of families are blended. At first glance, that seemed super high to me, but then, you consider roughly 50% of marriages end in divorce. So I can see how now we've got 40% of families that are blended. What types of issues do we have when it comes to the holidays? What are some of the big questions? I mean, some of the examples Priority Health sent over are, which grandma's house do we go to? Which day do we see mom or dad? Talk to us about some of those most common concerns.
The concerns are the separation that occurs during the holidays, because on one side of the family, a family member may be in Michigan and the other side of the family may be in Alabama. The questions come, where are we going to celebrate? How do we divide the family so that one side of the family does not feel slighted, does not feel as though the other side is getting the bulk of the time from the family members? So the issues come around traveling, they come around scheduling, they come around what do we do that we haven't done before, or how can we be cohesive when there's a huge separation? But the important thing is making sure that everyone has a voice in the family and that everyone has a main goal of being loving and caring and kind in any situation that you may have.
Now, Dr. Dennis, I'm going to kind of bring it a little home for this one, because we've been talking with multiple guests about managing stress during the holiday season. And one of the biggest things I've taken away from those conversations is setting boundaries and not feeling as though you have to do all the things constantly for everyone. But I can speak from personal experience. I was older when my parents got divorced, so now I had my immediate family unit's Christmas. I had my dad's Christmas, my grandparents on my dad's side's Christmas, my mom's side's Christmas, and my mom's. That is 5 Christmas events that if I miss any of them, why weren't you at ours, Eric? How do we kind of navigate those very tricky waters? Because just thinking back on the couple of years that I went to all 5, I spent maybe half an hour at each. I felt like I didn't connect with any of my family, and I was exhausted at the end of the day.
So the times that we think are tricky really are not. When you get to the bottom of it, you really need to talk to every individual in the family. Say, hey, you know what? I cannot be here at this particular time, but I am putting this time out for you. It's okay to say, I have a lot of people that I want to share my time with. And unfortunately, yes, as you said earlier, 50% of marriages end in divorce. That means families are split up, they're separated, they're moving about. But when you bring it to the table, when you say, set the limits up front. Hey, on this day, I'm going to be at grandpa's house. But soon as I leave there, I'm going to be at grandma's house. Setting those expectations and putting it up front, putting everything out there on the line for every family member to understand, that allows people to digest what's going to happen and to make their own schedules. Being consistent with everyone and letting everyone know what the plans are is most important.
Set the proper expectations. That solves so many problems in life.
It does.
And I kind of come at it from, I guess, the flip side, in opposite of Eric. I mean, my parents, were married for 50 years, but I myself went through divorce, so my kids have had 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings, holidays like that, and we've just kind of come to accept that maybe Christmas is celebrated on Christmas Eve, with Dad one year and with
Gotcha.
Mom the next year, or it doesn't have to be on that day as long as you get some time. But my last question for you here in our closing seconds here, Dr. Dennis, is, we want to make a plan that everyone can agree with, but people don't always agree. There tends to be some conflict sometimes in some of those conversations.
Just a little bit.
Sometimes conflict happens, but a good idea is having a referee, having someone who can step back and say, hey, you know what, you all may not agree, but you have to come to a consensus, and there is not going to be an issue involved in what we decide to do. So having a third party that doesn't have a stake in whatever you all are doing can be a great way to have people come to conclusions about what we're going to do as a family. But you also can consider, you know what, we don't all get along, but let's come together for the holiday season.
Right.
And
Yeah,
just try to
absolutely.
steer clear from the things that make us not get along so well.
Exactly. It's funny. My kids are older now, so I think we're beyond a lot of that. But I could have used a referee at some points historically. So it's a great idea just to have someone, put the kids first, of course, and just make the most of it. Dr. Dennis from Priority Health, thank you so much for being with us. We hope you have a great holiday season.
Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays, Dr. Dennis.
Bye. Happy holidays.